One percenter. So, well, firstly, thanks for having me. One percenter, I guess, comes back from my younger footy days, and it was on a poster on the wall. If I'm correct in saying that, and it said, "The harder you work, the luckier you get." So I guess you can put that into any term. It doesn't have to be sport. It can be educational, occupation. So whatever you're putting in, and if you want to succeed, that luck should change by the end of it. So you got a bit of sacrifice to make. But I guess from where I seen it was through footy. And so harder you work, the luckier you get. And with a bit of luck, that certainly touches a few people and they can sort of reflect on that.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure they will. So you can drop the club that they come from if you want to, but you can also...
It doesn't matter that we're sponsored by Ulverston Footy Club.
But a little bit about yourself as well. So
Yeah, myself, yeah. So 36-year-old, got a wife and a lovely wife and 3 beautiful kids. And, happy-go-lucky sort of guy. Try to be at the best of times and enjoy my sport. Joiner by trade. I guess I'm a yes man and not a no man, so I do try and wear too many hats sometimes, and yeah, I've got to take those hats off eventually.
Is that how Reece wrangled you into the episode, mate, or just by saying yes to everything?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. So just you're free Sunday. Yep, I'll lock that in. Let's do it.
Beautiful.
So,
actually, it was a sad day, and then I got the dates.
you did, you did, and the month too.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So
The life of working on the spirit. But
Yes.
Mate, let's go a little bit more into your 1%er. So how have you implemented that in your life, from seeing it, I'm assuming, at a young age to now being 36? There's a few years past. So tell us a little bit more about how you've implemented that in your life.
yeah, I guess I haven't been. If you look at it, sporting terms, hence why that's where I sort of seen it. I wasn't blessed with the talent that people sometimes get, and I had to sort of work hard. I never played at the top level at senior footy at the top level at all. I was just in the country playing footy, but when I was younger, I couldn't quite kick properly. Couldn't drop the footy properly. But that just come down to some perseverance from people around at that footy club to help me and guide the footy down, etc. So I sort of worked hard in that sense to navigate that skill. And then eventually, finally got to sort of. I wasn't the best kick either, but eventually was able to kick properly. So that's where that sort of stems from in that sense, sporting sense, but also just in everyday life. So again, working, I was lucky enough to get an apprenticeship, and I've stuck with it, sort of thing, through that building game. So a lot of people give up and whatnot, but I'd like to think that I've sort of given my all there in that area. And again, I had to work hard for it, though. It didn't just get given to me on a platter. I had to actually work hard for it, and I got lucky. So,
Did that saying on that poster stick straight away, or is it something that you've gone in after a little bit of time, going, "Oh fuck yeah, that actually makes sense"?
Yeah, no, the second bit. So after a little bit, yeah. But I just remember seeing it, like just was just there.
Yeah, I find a lot of things that I've seen over the course of a lot, like kicking around for 33 years myself. You'll see some stuff and you're like, oh yeah, whatever. And come back and it just flashes in your mind later. You go, oh yeah, that's what that means. I can actually put the pieces together now and actually effectively use it rather
and
than
I remember that.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the whole career side of it and the football side, the social football side. When your playing career finished, how did it go then?
It was still all right.
Yeah. Was it a tough motto to follow after that?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, I'm in the coaching game now, and so again, it's very similar. You get in what you put out, sort of thing. Like, I'm working hard on that, and it's, like I said before, it's in general life. Just you're going to chip in, you're going to do it. You might as well do it properly. Don't worry about having a plan B. Just go with your plan A. Put everything into it, and if it's not quite working out, you might have to work a little bit harder for it. So,
Which episode was it? The just keep showing up.
Oh, Connor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Connor spoke about that.
Just the consistency of
Um,
showing up and just chipping in and
Yeah, perseverance of hard work and just continually like being there, and eventually things will sort of work themselves out.
there's all these themes that just come running through everything, isn't there?
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
yeah, it's very funny, and it's funny how many of them are quite connected. But yeah, this one is quite unique, and I'm appreciative of you bringing it on because it does sort of really resonate with me as well. Thinking about sort of some of the younger generation, and you mentioned that you're now in sort of a coaching position. How do you try to instill? I guess it's a 1%er, but it's also life value. How do you try to pass that down to the younger generation?
Yeah, these days it's tricky, I guess the word is you could use. The world's changing and things change for a reason, and generations change. So back when I was sort of playing footy or an apprentice as well, for that matter, in the building game, it's totally different to what it is now. The training standards on a sporting level, whether that be football or any sport for that matter, basketball, netball, soccer, and also in occupation area, that's changed as well. Like the way you go about things, the way you're teaching the younger kids how carpentry and joinery, the machining, that's all changed. So I guess things have come up in the world, and you've still got to understand that they are kids that you're still trying to teach, whether that be at a sporting level or a educational level or an occupation level. They are still kids, and sometimes I forget that, and I can refer that back to my children. Like, they are just kids, so they don't quite comprehend or understand what I fully understand, and I sometimes do forget that as they're 12 and 10 and 7, they're watching the same program I'm watching, but I'm comprehending it differently,
getting different meaning out of the same message.
Yeah. So and then you got the older ones in the 18, 19 area, girls and boys, and you're explaining it the way that you think is getting through to them, but it might not get through to them that way because we're just wired differently, and the things that we do now are from change, basically.
Yeah. You spoke about your coaching now, and I think I've asked this question before of like other people. How do you take that coaching hat off with your kids when you go to just have a play in the backyard and muck around? Do you find that as a struggle, or do you always feel like there's hard work and there's improvement to be made in every little thing you're doing?
Yeah, I guess I could probably say I'm probably a hard taskmaster when it comes to that, and my kids probably think I pick on them more than other kids.
You coach your kids?
I do. I have done.
Oh,
I have done. So, yeah, it has been tough. Yeah, for different reasons. But I guess they implement what we're putting to them, and they comprehend it differently to what I'm trying to explain it to them. So I try and take that coach hat off and put the father hat back on. But sometimes I forget, and I think I've changed it, but no, I've still got the wrong hat on. Still got the wrong hat on. So yeah,
that'd be interesting. I reckon I'd struggle with that one. Not looking forward to being in that spot. I've been going back down to Auskick actually.
Yeah,
Emmy's really interested, and yeah, that's been interesting. They've got a good crew there this year, and that always makes it makes it a bit easier with the parents on having to be too involved in the whole structure side of it. They can do their coaching bit, and you can just guide them rather than having to do that bit, which makes it a lot better.
Yeah, sometimes car trips on the way home are quite tense after a game or something like that, because you're trying to explain, or they think they've done wrong or they've done right, and I might disagree or agree or whatever. So yeah, they can be a bit tense, and it could be a long drive too sometimes.
Yeah. We've got the same with Alex in basketball, but he's got this wicked coach this round now, so it's really good to see like the coach be there taking notes, and he's like, I'll explain it, and he actually gets in the kids' heads the right way and sort of explains it the way that they can pick up.
Thinking about, sorry to segue right back to the 1%er, but something that I was thinking about was, like working hard to, I guess essentially create your own luck, and like just that perseverance of hard work will come a point in time where it's incredibly challenging. And sometimes like something, it might just feel like you're flogging a dead horse. How do you sort of mentally, I guess, prepare yourself for that, and how do you push through that because so that you know that through perseverance and hard work you're going to get there. But what do you do to sort of mentally prepare for that? And what advice would you give for others that ultimately will get to that point of challenge? And how do you explain to someone to just keep going?
Yeah, that's a good one. We all obviously make decisions, and we're all different in aspects generally. So you've got some people that want to get fit, okay, and that's their goal because that's where they want to go. That's how they're going to achieve what they want to achieve is through fitness. Then you've got on the other side, it could be educational. If I study really hard, I'm going to get to where I need to go. If I pass this test, I'll get being involved with football. Football's like an outlet for me, and we've all got one, and hence why I sort of put time into it, sometimes too much time into that area. But it's the outlet, so I go there. I know I'm in the zone. I know at times it's tough, but you've got to shut off at times as well, and you've got to have your time. And again, I forget that sometimes as well by not shutting off. I've still got the toe dipped in or the phone turned on when I shouldn't have, and receiving those messages or whatever that. Of the journey that you're on, you took up the study to get this dream job, and it gets really tough, but you're halfway through, so there's no point turning back because you're halfway through there, so you might as well keep going. Yep. Very similar to the sporting. We're halfway. This fitness, I'm running, 10Ks a day. I'm cooked, but you're halfway there. Like you might as well keep going.
Yep.
So so again, all different, but I think the goal is still the same, and the chance to be successful in whatever you choose to be successful in.
It's an interesting question too. Like this goes back to, like, as Aaron said, hard work, consistency, and all that sort of stuff. And we talk about these 1%ers and these small improvements lead to a bigger end goal. One thing that's like a question that's been bouncing around my head since Connor asked that or mentioned, just get up, keep grinding, is how can you just, it's small increments, small gains. How do you stop and go, yeah, I'm going better? Because you kind of got to trust the process, and the end goal is going to be worth it. But when you're 25% of the way in, how do you know you're still, you're 25% of the way to where you need to be? Like, how would you check that? So
it's the old cliche, I guess. It's a mental challenge then, isn't it? Because you're quarter of the way there. So some people back out, and they shouldn't be questioned for that because they had a goal, they had a vision, they got so far, and it wasn't for them. So those people shouldn't be questioned for that, whether for whatever reason. But then so it becomes mentally challenging because you've got to, I've got to stick to this task. I have to. But then the other part of you is telling me, no, you got to get out. Like this is ridiculous. This is getting really tough.
Haven't got anywhere.
Yeah, I've got 5 weeks. Yep. I'm trying to lose weight, or this studying I'm doing, it's just repeating itself all the time. Like I shouldn't have to do this, etc. But I guess it just comes down to that mental challenge. And again, everyone's different to that area because some can't quite handle it. But as I said just before, they shouldn't be questioned on that because that's life.
Yep.
If you just haven't quite got that mental perception to keep driving yourself, so be it. Like that's just who you are and how it is.
They might find another channel that they just love and just drive
that's
hardcore
right.
at. So yeah,
that's right. Yeah, they go down a different path in the end.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
and I think that motivator at the end is the most important thing. So if they're not 100% in on whatever that ultimate goal is at the end of it, then they probably will get that quarter of the way in. They'll get to that sticking point that is that hard point, and they'll be like, well, they'll have these sort of proverbial scales where it's just like, is it worth that extra 75% to get there? And if it's not a thing that motivates them enough to get to that point, then they'll probably just go, fuck it, and start something else.
You got to remember, and a lot of people forget, I think, and I'm probably one of them, that you're not alone. So decisions, I think we all make, involve other people. And my wife's a big supporter of mine, And so the decisions I have made along the way, along the journey through mainly football and coaching and trying to juggle the father and the family act, she's been a really big, strong supporter of mine. So that decision wasn't just mine, it was ours. So very similar thing, work-wise or anything like that. I reckon 90% of people have spoken to someone about it. Am I making the right decision? Do you reckon I should do this? And that person supported them, and they've, yeah, you'll be right. Yeah, why not? Give it a go. Have a go at it. Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll get through this. If you need a hand, just yell out. So I think, yeah, you're definitely not alone when you're making decisions like that.
Especially if you get like an outside observer. So how am I going? You go, yep, no, you're going good.
Yeah.
Or no, come on, you need to get up it a bit more. So yeah.
I'm trying to get that advice from someone. You've been cut off twice. You're right. I'm trying to get that advice from someone that's been in a similar position.
Yeah.
Is also a big win there, I think.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, your mates are always just going to be like, yeah, go for it, mate.
Go for it.
We'll give you a
Yeah.
hand. We'll,
Fucking send it.
we'll give you a leg up for sure.
Well,
And then-
that's the other thing I was going to say. Some mates might be,
yeah.
but then some people might have those friends that are, just those negative people that they're always those people that are quick to say, oh, nah, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe it is too hard. Maybe don't do it.
Yeah.
I think everyone needs that friend in their friendship group that doesn't matter what sort of stupid idea you say, they'll just back you in 100%.
Yeah, correct.
Because they know that, it'll either work or it won't. And if it doesn't work, they'll be there to support you regardless. So you may as well have a crack at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing that I'll say to anyone, like if you are that negative person to someone, try and turn yourself around to be that person that's just there to support and to help people, because that is, another way to look after people's sort of mental well-being. To digress just a little bit, I know you said it a little while ago, but you were talking about having that outlet, and that sort of steered me to want to ask the question, what else do you do for your mental health?
Yeah, so I guess trying to stay strong, and footy was on a sporting scale for me was sort of cut short a few years back. I had a serious leg injury, and those times that was 7 years ago now. So that time has been tough. Hence why the footy, evidently, even though I did it playing football, has still been that outlet for me. As tough as it has been, it's just there for me. The health and well-being, I guess. I'd like to think I eat healthy. I'd like to think I try and keep myself in reasonable shape. So walking the dog, and obviously the kids really sort of give me that other outlet as well. They keep us busy. There's not really a free night during these months from here on in where we're at home. We're basically at home to sleep, and that's about it at the moment. So keeping occupied there and knowing that I have influenced and had an input on their life as best I can, that's also another outlet for me, and seeing them achieve and do what they do as best they can. They don't have to be superstars, and I don't expect them to be superstars. There's no questioning that. But and not forcing them to play any sport. They choose it. We'll support them. We'll do the best we can to juggle that for them. So having 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl, the 2 boys play footy and basketball. Yeah, it's a good little indicator that you're always on the go. But I guess that's another outlet for me. And look, it's probably a simple one, if you know what I mean. Like everyone says, oh, it's the kids. It is, but it is like seeing them active, and we're not just running around. We're running around for a reason.
Yep.
They've got a purpose. So so that's how I sort of. I guess you got the footy, but family's probably the most one for me.
Best hobby you can have.
Hobby?
Kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a hobby or a full-time job, I don't know.
Yeah, it depends which way you look at it, but yeah, deep down, the more you think about it, and I spend a bit of time obviously travelling to and from work, etc., by myself. So you just have time to think, and sometimes your brain does go that way, and you think, geez, I'm pretty lucky. Yeah. Like, I am lucky.
One of the things that you brought up, and I don't want to pull on a thread, so tell me to shut up if you want, but I think it would be valuable for a lot, because I've had this conversation with a few people. But when you did injure yourself, obviously prior to that, footy was a big part of your life. It was a big part of sort of your mental health and looking after yourself and all the rest of it. I'm sure there were some challenges, like mentally and otherwise, like when you did have that injury and realised that I might not play football again. How did you cope with that?
Yeah, that's a good one. And I haven't. I guess I haven't spoke about this too much to too many, if at all. So I did it 7 years ago. Footy was part of my life. Got told that was it, and at the time it was like, yeah, okay, yeah, no worries. I accept that. Blah blah blah. There's a lot of people worse off than me, which there is. But as the years wear on, took up the coaching and that, but just the missing of running around out there, and I guess going through the pain I live with every day, and I definitely don't make an excuse. I definitely don't cry out for feel sorry for me or anything like that. It's life again, but the road got a little bit tougher 4 or 5 years on, and it's still tough because it's just that fact that you feel like you've missed so much. And again, the people say, "Oh yeah, but you're not, there's other people worse off than you," and you're right, there is, but you don't know how I'm living or what I'm going through on a daily basis. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's still super painful.
Yeah. And it's still raw, sort of thing.
Yep.
You know, to think that it was taken away from me. I wasn't able to choose when I wanted to stop or anything like that.
Yep.
Now, look at it whichever way you like. Until you're in the shoes of that person, now whether you've got an illness or whether you've something else has happened to you or your family, you just can't live. You can't comprehend what they're going through.
Yeah.
So mentally challenging for me. Yeah, very very mentally challenging. And again, I put it back onto my wife, who's a very strong lady, and obviously my 3 children. If I don't have her or hadn't had her support, it would have been a lot tougher for me, I think, and my family as well.
Yeah,
I've got a close knit family, and they were right beside me all the way. Even though it got really challenging at times, really challenging.
Because that time on the couch straight after it is rough.
Yeah,
Nothing short of it.
No, and I had some people come around and visit me that didn't have to and wasn't expecting them to, but there was a knock on the door and it was like, oh, geez. Come in, and they sat there. They'd sit there with me for 2 or 3 hours. So I was hospital for 2 weeks. I was in a wheelchair for a month, and then I was in plaster for 6 weeks, and then I had to learn to walk again. So I was in a moon boot and whatnot from there. So that sort of stuff. Jabbing yourself with needles to stop you from clotting and all that sort of jazz. And until someone's in those shoes, you don't comprehend what they're going through. And as I said at the time, I was accepting of it, but was I really accepting of it? I don't think I was. It just sort of over time it passed, and it was like, yeah, okay, shit, this is real. Like, I'm missing out on some things here, and it's going to get pretty tough here, but. Staying involved with footy through coaching has sort of been a bit of a saviour, I guess, and I've turned my focus to that now.
What advice would you have to either others that have gone through a similar thing or family and friends of someone that has gone through a similar thing?
Yeah, let them in. Let people in who want to help. Don't block them out. And I probably got to a stage where I blocked people out. And it wasn't healthy for me, and it wasn't healthy for others around me. Just let them in. They're there to help. There's obviously services around that you can call or contact as well. But family and friends are a really big one, I believe. And now seeing it firsthand, I guess you could say. That'd be the best. Just let people in.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. I think that's. It's a really good message, and a lot of this episode has had a lot in it, obviously from hard work and persistence leading to, ultimately what some would perhaps perceive as luck. A lot of people sort of behind closed doors will probably say, oh, that guy's lucky, and you're like, fuck, that guy's actually put a heap of work in for wherever he's at. So totally resonate with your 1%er. But also just the other stuff like family and exercise is really important. And honestly, it comes up a lot in the podcast. So,
and we're always busy too. You know, everyone's got a busy life. But I actually read an article, and it was questioned about like. So I said to you, Reese, you know, what are you up to today? Oh, I'm busy. Like, are you busy, or that's just you thinking you're busy? If you know what I mean, like at the end of the day, yeah. If that makes sense, like we're all busy and we lead busy lives, but it's finding the time for yourself to go for that walk, or take the dog for a walk, or go down to the bakery for a coffee, or because you're not that busy. You know, you can spare half an hour, or you can spare an hour. And this article I sort of chuckled at it, and I thought, oh yeah, you got a point. Like, are you really busy? Like, is it that? Are you serious? Are you that busy?
I drove down here because I was too busy to walk.
Yeah,
That's a fair point, though. Like, why couldn't you just take the extra? It's going to take me literally 4 minutes.
For those that are listening, he lives 100 metres up the road.
Why don't I take put my stuff in a bag and just walk down?
Just walk down, yeah,
and enjoy a bit of outside time for that few moments. But you're right. Like, I was too busy because I wanted to stay at home and get an extra couple of minutes with the kids or something. But still, I'm not too busy. I still could have taken that.
That's right.
Still could have got the same amount of time.
So what's busy, you know? Again, we all live different lives, but what's busy?
That's a funny point to look, I'm probably going to wrap it up there. I think it's a really awesome spot to wrap her up. Unless there's anything that anyone else sort of has, or anything that you want to finish on.
No, look, I did have another little 1%er, if I may.
Please.
Just real quick to finish on, and I only read this recently, and it said, if your mind won't change, then change won't happen. So take that as you like, but just back to the world we live in, and who knows where it's going to be. But change is happening for whatever reason in various things, and I think we've got to change with it. Otherwise, if we don't change with it, we're going to be left in the dark ages. And so if your mind won't change, then change won't happen.
Very good.
Champion. Nice. Look, if there's been anything in this episode that has been triggering for others, we always recommend reach out to a mate, family member, whoever it might be. If you think that someone that you know is struggling, reach out to them. It's not hard. Back to if you are someone that has got something that's triggered you out of this, another option is to contact Lifeline 13 11 14. Reach out to a local GP or other services that do exist out there. But Dipper, cheers, mate. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Cheers.
Let's do it.